Hi, and welcome to the Becoming Trauma-Informed podcast, where we help you understand how your past painful experiences are affecting your current reality and how you can shift those so you can create your desired future. I'm Dr. Lee, and both myself and our team at the Institute for Trauma and Psychological Safety are excited to support you on your journey. We talk about all the things on this podcast. No topic gets left uncovered. So, extending a content warning to you before we get started. If you notice yourself getting activated while listening, invitation to take care of yourself and to pause, skip ahead a bit, or just check out another episode. Let's dive in. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's Live with Lee. So we're going to be talking about self-sabotage today. Just as an FYI, I'm also live streaming this on TikTok. So for those of you watching on TikTok, you can check out our Facebook group, Becoming Trauma Informed, creating safer, shame-free spaces. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, you can go follow on TikTok, That One Trauma Coach. Today, we are going to be talking about self-sabotage. And this is one of my absolute favorite topics because I have a much different viewpoint, a much different opinion on how we approach self-sabotage compared to lots of other people. So if you're here live, say hi. I'd love to say hi back. You can, if you're watching this on the replay, you can drop a hashtag replay in the chat. And if you're listening to this on the podcast replay, welcome. And so excited that you're listening. So self-sabotage. What is self-sabotage? Well, for those of us who maybe don't have any experience in the trauma world or in the mental health world, a lot of times we hear self-sabotage and it feels, to me, the term feels shameful, right? It feels shameful to think of how we get in our own ways. And a lot of times we use this language in the coaching and in the professional development world. And like, we talk about how we hold ourselves back. We talk about how we mess ourselves up, how we keep ourselves stuck, how we self-sabotage. And something before I became a certified clinical trauma professional always felt a little wrong about that we were like making it our fault and that we were adding like this bit of shame to it, right? That we were saying basically like we should feel bad that we are self-sabotaging. We should feel bad that we are self-sabotaging. And so as I started developing our core curriculum at the Institute for our trauma-informed, psychologically safe certificate program, I was like, we really need to look at this because one of the things we talk a lot about in our certificate program and in all of our trainings is shame. We talk about how shame is problematic, how when we approach things from a viewpoint of shame, where we make ourselves wrong, where we beat ourselves up, where we are unkind to ourselves, right? When we tell ourselves that we don't belong because we're doing something that's wrong. We know scientifically that approaching things from a shame-based perspective actually makes people less likely to change. Approaching things from a shame-based perspective makes people less likely to change. So if we're going to look at why we are not doing things to help ourselves be successful, why we are choosing habits or why we are participating in behaviors or finding ourselves in the same situations over and over that don't actually align, that don't feel resonant with who we are and how we want to show up. When we look at this, if we are shaming ourselves around this and making ourselves feel wrong for this, the likelihood that we're going to change is really minimal. So what do we do instead, right? Because this is what we are taught. What we want to do instead of looking at holding ourselves back or keeping ourselves stuck or feeling like we're not successful or like beating ourselves up for getting in our own way, instead of calling this self-sabotage, I think it's really important for us to look at what this actually is because it's actually self-protection. Self-sabotage, you are not getting in your own way. You are not causing yourself pain just willy-nilly. You are not holding yourself back. You are not keeping yourself stuck. What you are doing is protecting yourself. Self-sabotage is really self-protection. And this is something that I think most people, like, when they hear this, they're like, whoa, right? What do you mean self-sabotage is really self-protection? Every choice we make as humans is done to either avoid potential pain or to gain certain pleasure. I'm going to say this again. Every decision that we make as humans is to feel something. It's to either feel certain pleasure. Like, I know this thing is going to give me pleasure. I know this thing is going to help me feel the way I want to feel. Or it's to avoid potential pain. Now, something odd that seems odd on the surface, but actually makes a lot of sense once we get into the neuroscience of it and understand how our bodies and our nervous systems work, is we will much rather choose certain pain in our current situation than we will choose potential uncertain pain in a unknown situation. We will choose certain pain in a known situation over potential pain and potential pleasure in a uncertain situation. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I have $100 and somebody comes up to me and they say, hey, there is a 0.0001% chance that you can give me that $100 bill and that I will give you back $10 million. Most people, that amount of money for $100, they're going to go, wow, the amount of pain that I would feel giving up that $100 compared to the potential pleasure there of $10 million, even though it's like only a 1 in 10,000 chance, that feels like a deal I'm going to take. I'm going to risk that potential pain of losing this $100 over keeping it and then not gaining 10 million. However, not every human is going to do that, right? If I have a lot of money, that $100 probably doesn't feel as painful. But if that $100 is the last $100 I have to my name, and you tell me it's a 1 in 10,000 chance, I'm probably not going to bet it because I need that $100. The potential pain is so much higher for me because if I lose that, I have nothing compared to, well, it's just $100 because I have 10,000 in the bank, right? Now, think about it this way. What if I upped the odds? What if I upped the odds and I said, okay, you give me that $100 and there's a 1 in 10 chance you get $10 million. That might shift for some people, right? The pain and pleasure, the potential pain and the potential pleasure weights shift. So let's take this to a coaching example, because I really want to talk about how we see self-protection, aka self-sabotage, in the coaching world. Because this is one of the fundamental things that I think we as a coaching industry don't do it well. We don't do it well. And we're working on it. We're getting there. This is something we're teaching in our trauma-informed coach program. So if you are a coach and this next part resonates with you, you should probably be in that course. Okay. Which the link is in our bio. For my TikTok people, for my podcasters, the link is in the show notes. And for my live people, I'll drop it at the end. So if we're coaching someone, if I'm coaching someone and I say, hey, I know you you have this business right here in front of you, and I know you really want it to grow. And in order to grow this business, you're going to have to risk failure. You're going to have to risk embarrassment. You're going to have to risk losing money. You're going to have to risk adding on responsibility. You're going to have to risk getting clients and disappointing them. So you're going to have to risk disappointing people. You're going to have to risk rejection. You're going to have to risk people deciding they no longer like you, abandonment, loss of love, safety, and belonging. You're going to have to risk all of this in order to have a successful business. And we haven't made the benefits tangible. These people don't understand that your client that's sitting in front of you, you haven't had a conversation around the certain pleasure that they can get from this. And so you're coaching them from this place, whether they recognize it consciously or subconsciously, because maybe they don't realize that they have all these risks, but you're saying, hey, you've said you want to start a business. Let's start a business. And you give them advice every week. And every week they're like, okay, I'm going to go do that. And every week they come back and they haven't done it. What do? We label these clients resistant. We label these clients as self-sabotagers. We label these clients as stuck. We label these clients as all sorts of things. Well, if you just listened, if you just did what I told you to do, you would be successful. And a lot of coaches go into what we call, when we've talked about threat response, we talked about activated energy. A lot of coaches get activated when their clients are not making progress or quote unquote having results, when their clients stay stuck, when their clients quote unquote get resistant. They make their client wrong. And then they also, sometimes coaches get all up in their feelings and make themselves wrong too. And they're like, well, I must be doing something wrong because this person's stuck and I can't help them and they're not moving and they're not doing this. Your client is not resistant. Your client is not self-sabotaging. Your client is not stuck. Your client's subconscious brain, what your client has learned up until the moment that they became your client, is affecting what they see as painful and what they see as pleasurable, and is affecting how they choose how to move forward. So one of the key things that I do with my clients, with my coaching clients, and the reason I believe my coaching clients have so much success, because I have a lot of clients that come to me and they're like, it's never worked before. I've tried doing this with lots of coaches. It hasn't helped. I've been in this trying to build this for years and it hasn't worked, or I just feel like I'm at the end of my rope, or I feel like it's not working, or I feel like it's not happening fast enough. And I'm talking to these people. I oftentimes attract clients who are quote unquote rebellious or resistant. And what I do, here's my secret, that's not a secret, but what I do with these clients is we shift around their pain and their pleasure. We shift around how their nervous system views their business in terms of pain and pleasure. So we get underneath to the subconscious beliefs around why going further in their business, why having success, why having more clients, why having more money, why having more fame, why having more visibility, why having all of these things is actually feeling painful to their subconscious brain. So a lot of you are in the behind the scenes of a trauma-informed business group that we put together. We're in the second week of that group. And our Monday mindset prompt this week was, list 10 reasons you don't want what you deeply desire most. List 10 reasons why you don't want what you deeply desire most. And so here, I actually did this exercise. I wasn't planning on doing this, but y'all know me. If I get an idea, I run with it. So I actually did this exercise at a retreat that I was at last week in Vegas. And so here's my journal, okay? Like, this is my journal for real. Why I don't want to pursue public speaking. So the thing that I want more than anything is to be a public speaker. I want to speak on stages of hundreds and to thousands of people. I actually had this moment pop up this morning. I was like, I could have a TV show. It could be called Dr. Lee. Like, that would be really cool. Like, I was just daydreaming about being able to talk to and serve a lot of people today. And public speaking is the thing I've been wanting to work on. And I purchased a $12,000 course or group program to teach me everything I needed for public speaking. It's the perfect course. It's so helpful. It's exactly what I need. And I sat on it for 2.5 months. I did a little bit of work in the beginning one, and then I sat on it for 2.5 months. And I was like, why am I being weird about this? And then I was like, oh, let me coach myself. Like, again, my brain went, why are you self-sabotaging? And I was like, oh, whoa. We're not self-sabotaging. We're self-protecting. What are we protecting ourselves from? Let's go to this exercise we have of why I don't want the thing. So why I don't want to pursue public speaking, which this is hilarious to me because I'm live on TikTok. This is going to be on a podcast, and I'm live on Facebook, and I'm talking about how I don't want to pursue public speaking. But I mean, at that stage, on that stage, in person, in front of a lot of people. Okay. So number one, because what if I become famous and have to deal with all the hassles that come along with that? Number two, because people could not like what I say and attack me for it. Number three, because who am I to want so much attention and to have such a big impact on other people's lives? Number four, because what if I see my family less or don't get to enjoy as much time as I've had with them recently? Number five, because it feels like a hassle to figure out how to get paid speaking gigs. Number six, because what if the people I love get jealous of my success? Number seven, because I'm not an expert at it and I'm not sure how to do it and I'm afraid I'll feel or look stupid. Number 8, because then I'd have to decrease my number of one-on-one clients, and that feels wrong / like I'm hurting them and other potential clients. Number 9, because I feel too, quote unquote, too big for my britches and will publicly be sharing my zone of genius, and I will not be humble. This is a big one. Number 10, because if it all works, I'll have everything I ever wanted, and who gets to have that? Is that even possible? And what will I have to give up or lose? So let's go back to these last two, because I find when I do this, the last two are always the most powerful ones for me. As I get deeper in, my brain like rattles off the stuff I know, and then the deeper ones are at the end. So for me, the two biggest ones, because I won't be humble. Humility is a family value in my family. That's how I was raised. You are humble. You do not brag. You do not boast. You do not show people. And this was actually a safety thing for some of my ancestors, for some of my elders. So this is something that I was taught to do, is to be humble, because you don't want to let other people know what you have, because then you could lose it. They could take it. They could steal it. They could undermine you. Okay. And the second one is a huge one that I hear from people. It's not a fear of failure. It's a fear of success. If it all works, I'll have everything I ever wanted, and who gets to have that? Is that even possible? What will I have to give up in order to gain that? So look at all these statements. I'm not sabotaging myself by not participating in this speaking course. I'm protecting myself. My subconscious brain believes these things that I've written down. They feel like truth. It feels like truth that I could get attacked and rejected. It feels like truth that I could never have privacy again when I'm famous. It feels like truth that people could get jealous. It feels like truth that I could look stupid. It feels like truth that I could hurt people. It feels like truth that I wouldn't be humble. It feels like truth that I would potentially lose something I already have. These are painful, y'all. This is pain. So if this is pain, then it makes so much sense that my subconscious brain would protect me from this pain by not allowing me to go after this goal. So this is why subconscious work is important. This is why getting to your conditioned beliefs. These are not your truth. This is not your soul's truth. This is not your divine truth. This is programming that you've received over years and years and years. This is what you learn from your mom, what you learn from your dad, what you learn from your teachers, what you learn from your grandparents, what you learn from your coaches, what you learn from social media, what you learn from the news, what you learn from everywhere else. This is not your truth. This is truth that you've been taught, that you have accepted as truth, but it's not the real truth. One of my favorite things to say is whatever you think is the truth is the truth. Whatever your brain believes to be the truth, whatever your brain accepts as truth is truth. So the next thing that we get to do here, once we're realizing, oh, this is all the ways that I'm self-protecting, and oh my goodness, it makes so much sense that I'm self-protecting like this. Like, look at how deeply my subconscious brain, look at how deeply my brain cares about me. Look at how much I care about myself. Look at how much I care about myself, because if I didn't care about myself, I wouldn't care if I caused myself pain. And in fact, yes, I'm feeling pain staying stuck, and that's because I'm afraid of all of this pain. So now we get to shift it. We get to look at, how can I turn these things around? How can I turn these things around? How can I get to what my actual truth is? Because if whatever I believe is the truth, then let's believe a different truth. Yeah? So I'm going to cuss, because I cuss in my journaling, so I'm going to cuss here. So let's go. So what I do is I look at all of these statements and I flip them and I write the truth is. So for those of you who can see, I put on the page beside it, I write all of those fears, all of those reasons I don't want the thing, all of that pain on the one side, and then on the other side I write the truth is, and I match it. So number 1, because what if I become famous and have to deal with the hassles that come with that? Here's what I wrote. The truth is, I'll fucking figure it out and have and I will hire all the support to help me. I'll hire the support to help me. I'll hire the humans that can make sure that I have what I need, right? I'll hire people to watch my back. I'll hire people to make my food. I'll hire people to help me navigate through places if people know who I am. I can handle that. I'll figure it out. Number 2, because people cannot like what I say and attack me for it. For number 2, I wrote, the truth is, I've been there and I've done that. I have been there and I've done that. I've had people not like what I say and attack me for it. I've had it happen twice in the last year in starting the Institute. I have had plenty of people come to me and say, this is stupid, you're dumb, I don't like what you have to say, you're wrong, you're not educated enough, you're not specialized enough, people don't need this, you're going to hurt people. I have had so many people say these things. And here's the thing, I can accept that as my truth, or I cannot. I can look at it and go, do I truly believe that this human is right? Or can I actually help a ton of people by not listening to them? So, been there, done that. I can have team handle the haters. And I know I will survive and thrive in adversity if it happens because I've done it before. I've survived bullying experiences. I've survived people literally trying to take down my business. I've survived people taking things that I've said online and putting them up in posts and ripping them apart. I've survived all of that. I've survived people talking behind my back. I'm good. I'm good. Number 3, because who am I to want so much attention and have such a big impact? This is what I wrote. The truth is, I'm allowed to love being in the spotlight and making a huge difference in people's lives. Guess what, y'all? I like attention. I love attention. I love being in the spotlight. It feels good for me. And there are so many people who also feel that way, who feel wrong for feeling that way. Now, there are some people who genuinely like to hang back. And if that's you, cool. But if you are somebody who likes attention and your fear is that, and your brain is saying, oh, it's going to be painful if people say that we're attention seekers, or that we are conceited, or that we're not humble. What's your truth? What's your actual truth? Because here's the thing, my love of attention, my love of being in the spotlight can literally help millions of people. So why not? We don't get mad at people for loving being in the spotlight as a singer or an actor or a dancer. In the arts, it's cool. You're allowed to love being in the spotlight as a speaker, as a coach, as a teacher, as a muse, as a whatever. Number 4, because what if I see my family less or don't get to enjoy time with them? I wrote, the truth is my family can travel with me and I can continue to prioritize them over my business. My family is prioritized over my business. My mantra, a lot of y'all have heard this, is what's good for me is good for my family, is good for my business. What's good for me is good for my family, is good for my business. In that order. If I'm good, I can make sure my family's good. And then if those things are good, I make sure my business is good. So if a decision is not good for my family, it's not good for my business. If a decision is not good for me, it's not good for my business. Is what it is. So some of y'all are out there going, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend less time with my family. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to travel more. I'm going to have to do these things. And it's going to be a problem. Figure out how you put your family first. Figure out how you put your needs first. And I promise you that business will grow because you're not going to be out of integrity with yourself. You're not going to exhaust yourself. You're not going to be feeling bad, causing yourself pain, feeling pain around the fact that you have a successful business and you're not seeing your family. I promise you, the pain of turning things down in your business in order to prioritize your family is so much less than the pain, I'm going to try not to cry here, than the pain of having to leave your family to go do business when it doesn't feel good. I've been that mom. I've been that mom who worked 80 hours a week because I had to, not because I wanted to, because I had to. And when I started my business, I said, I will not continue my business the way I continued my nurse practitioner, the way that I performed in my nurse practitioner career. I will not prioritize my career over my family. I won't. And there's still places and spaces that sneaks in, and I'm working on it. So moving on. Number 5, because it feels like a hassle to figure out how to get paid speaking gigs. And I wrote, the truth is you literally paid $12,000 to have someone walk you through this, use it, and be willing to fuck it up. How many of y'all hired coaches, paid for programs, did the things, and then like didn't allow yourselves to use them? Hi, welcome, me too. One of my other favorite mantras is I can fuck it up and I can never fuck it all up. I can fuck up and never fuck it all up. It's a gorgeous thing. I can make mistakes. I can make mistakes all day and not fuck it up, because I can't fuck it up, because what's meant for me is what's meant for me, and it's what I will have. It's what I will get. It's what I will receive. So there's no sense in blocking myself here. And in fact, the way that I block myself the most is by being afraid to make a mistake, because then I don't make a move. Number 6, because what if people I love get jealous of my success? I wrote, cool. I literally wrote, the truth is cool. Great. They can get jealous. I wrote, people will also be motivated, inspired, and activated. So let's focus on that. One of the things I talk a lot about with my clients is that we don't want to focus on what we don't want. We don't want to focus on what we don't want. If you focus on what you don't want, you're not focused on what you do want. If you're focused on avoiding pain, you're not looking at how you get pleasure. If you're focused on not making a mistake, you're not focused on succeeding. 2 different focuses. So if I'm focusing on not making people jealous, that's not the same as focusing on motivating and inspiring people. Maybe people have to feel jealous in order to be motivated and inspired. Maybe people have to get a little, what's the word I want? A little rubbed the wrong way with how I'm showing up in order for them to realize, oh, I do want what she has. Or it's hard for me to look at the fact that like I'm doing this way and she's doing it this way and her way is so much easier, and ooh, I could have been doing it like that. Some people need to see that in order to be inspired. All right, number 7, because I'm not an expert at it and I'm not sure how to do it and I'm afraid I'll fail, look stupid. Okay, great. So I went back to one of my other mantras here, done, not perfect. You weren't an expert at nursing or coaching or parenting either, is what I wrote. The truth is that nothing I've ever done, I've been an expert at to start. Nothing I've ever done have I been an expert in at the beginning. So I don't have to be an expert at this to start either. Number 8, because then I'll have to decrease the amount of one-on-one clients I have, and that feels wrong, like I'm hurting them, and then also other potential clients. So I wrote, the truth is I'll figure it out in a way that feels mutually beneficial and still gives massive support and service to others. Yeah, I may stop taking one-on-ones. I doubt, actually, I was talking with my ops director, Sarah Khan, yesterday, and I was like, I doubt I will ever not have any one-on-ones, but I'll probably have like 2 one-on-ones or 3 one-on-ones. And that's it. Because if I'm going to be public speaking and doing other things, then I need to create space for that. And right now I have 9 one-on-ones. So we're probably going to have to decrease that. And that's okay. That's okay. Next one, 9, because I feel too big for my britches and will be publicly sharing my zone of genius and not being humble. I was proud of myself for this one. I wrote, the truth is it's a literal waste for me to not do this. It's a waste of my talent, of my passion, of my potential, and my ability to serve and help others. That feels painful. Like that right there, even saying that out loud, that feels painful. It feels painful to think of going to my grave, not sharing my zone of genius, not sharing my talents, not sharing my passion, not sharing my ability to help and serve. That feels selfish. That feels awful. That is more pain than I can ever imagine. So humility has no room here. There is no room for humility on this journey in the way that I'm thinking about it. There is room for humility in recognizing that I don't always have all the answers, and recognizing that I need help, and recognizing that I'm going to fail, and recognizing that I'm not perfect, and recognizing that I might need to phone a friend, or I might need to admit I've made a mistake, or I might need to apologize to someone, or I might need to back up and be like, ooh, the way I said that wasn't right, or that wasn't kind, or I did something hurtful or harmful. There's room for that. What there's not room for is false humility, which is what I was practicing, which is, I'm going to pretend like I don't have this ability. I'm going to pretend like I'm not good at this. I'm going to hide this away. I'm going to pretend that this isn't something that makes me special. That is actually selfish. And I don't mean selfish in the way of like of the self. False humility is actually arrogance. False humility is actually arrogance, because what it is you're saying, I'm going to hide this thing away and I'm not going to let anyone see this because it's so special that I'm afraid people are going to pay attention to me too much if I put it out there. That's not humility. Humility is like, yeah, I'm really good at this thing. And also, I make mistakes. I'm human. I'm not perfect. False humility is like, I'm going to actually pretend I don't have this thing and I'm going to treat myself as so special that like, I'm never going to show people this. And then the last one, because if it all works, I'll have everything I ever wanted. And who gets to have that? How is that possible? And what will I end up losing? And this is another statement that I use that I really, really love, is the truth is it's allowed to be this good. It's allowed to be this good, and it's allowed to keep getting better and better. So if I believe all of these truths, if I choose to believe these truths, and I choose to act from a space where I believe these truths, that I'll figure it out, that I am allowed to have support, that it's not a question of if it can happen, it's a question of how it can happen. And I start looking at all the pleasure that can come through that. Think about all the pleasure that can come through looking out at a stage of 10,000 people or 1,000 people or even 10 people and going like, wow, you know what? 10% of the people in this room might not like me, and that's okay, because 90% of people in this room are going to get a benefit out of this. Heck, even if 50% of the people in this room get a benefit out of this, even if one person in this room hears something that they need to hear, one person, what could that do? Thinking about the ripple effect that you showing up and going after the thing that feels scary, thinking about the certain pleasure that you can get from that. And so that's the last thing I want to talk about here, is how do we help shift ourselves out? So that's an exercise that I absolutely love to use, looking at the reasons you don't want it. Look at the pain first. And it's something that so many of us avoid, but the funny thing is it's there. It's already there. It's already affecting what you're doing. So we might as well call it out and pull it into the open and look at it so that we can shift it. But the other piece to this is really looking at bringing in that pleasure and decreasing that pain, because the whole, that potential pain. Because if you believe that you can handle whatever potential pain is coming, then you can focus on the pleasure. So this exercise helps you realize how I can handle the pain. And then this next piece is how you find the pleasure, how you create certain pleasure in what you want to do, so that there's no need to self-protect. There's no need to self-sabotage. The way that we create more pleasure is twofold. One, we stop making ourselves wrong for feeling the way that we're feeling. We stop making ourselves wrong for feeling scared. We stop making ourselves wrong for feeling the emotions that we're feeling, because again, that's just causing ourselves more pain. So if we stop making ourselves feel wrong and we focus on how we are feeling makes sense and is right, of course I'm feeling scared here. Of course I'm feeling activated. Of course I'm feeling worried. Of course I'm feeling fear. Of course I'm feeling all of those things. Look at that list. It makes so much sense. Oh my gosh, I'm doing such a good job of protecting myself. Oh, brain, you're so smart. Body, you're so smart. Right there, even. I just get a little bit of pleasure of going like, wow, it is so smart of me to have tried to protect myself from that. And what do I want to feel? Because I don't want to focus on not failing or not having people get jealous or not getting attacked or not getting famous or not getting whatever. I want to focus in on what I do want to feel. So what do I want to feel? And for me, what I want to feel energized. I want to feel energized, like right here talking to y'all. Yes, I had a good amount of coffee. And yes, I had a workout, which for me, those are energizing behaviors, right? And talking to y'all on here, talking to you in the podcast, talking to you on TikTok Live, talking to you on Facebook Live. This energizes me. This amps me up. This feels so good. Okay, so I want to do business activities that make me feel like this. One-on-one coaching makes me feel like this. Public speaking in a room makes me feel like this. Working in my masterminds and my mini minds, teaching in courses, the trauma-informed coach is coming up. That makes me feel energized. So I'm going to do this work. I'm going to figure out how to do this work in a way that makes me feel energized. For me also, another feeling is like grounded, at peace. Do I feel grounded? Do I feel grounded? Yes, I can be nervous. Yes, I can be excited. Yes, I can be all those things. Do I feel firm? Do I feel confident in what I am saying? Do I feel at peace? Do I feel calm? Do I feel grounded in what I'm doing? Some of y'all want to feel abundant. That's the thing for me too. I want to feel abundant, positively abundant. Okay. So whenever I find something that feels good, how do I get more of that? And not from a place of it's not enough right now. Again, that's a pain perspective. It's not enough right now and I need more. It's, oh my gosh, this feels so good. And thank you more, please. Thank you more, please. So how do I start paying attention to the things that actually I'm like, oh, that felt really good. I want more of that. One of the other things for me is confidence, right? And confident, I want to feel confident. Confidence for me is not about how I look or how I dress or how I speak or any of those things. Confidence for me is I am not distracted by myself. I'm focused on the message that I'm giving to you all. I'm focused on teaching. I'm focused on coaching. I'm focused on helping. I'm focused on serving. I'm focused on supporting. I'm not focused on, oh, I'm not wearing enough makeup, or, oh, I look a little like, oh, I don't like the way I look in the, no. So what do I need to feel confident? I need to make sure I'm wearing clothes that feel really good to me. I need to make sure that I got some big earrings on. I feel good. I don't need makeup. I got big earrings. I'm good. I love having my nails done because I talk with my hands and I see them. Those things make me feel confident. I feel confident. I don't feel distracted by myself. I used to bite my nails, and so I would feel really distracted seeing my hands on camera. And now I don't feel that way. Now when I see them, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I move on. So identifying the core feelings that will bring you pleasure, the things that if you're like, man, if I felt this way in my business, I would be so stoked. If I woke up and felt like this in my business every day or in my life every day, I would feel so freaking happy. And figure out how to feel that right now. So, like I just said, confidence. If you're wearing clothes that are too tight, go change them. If you know throwing a little bit of lipstick on makes you feel like $1 million and you're just like so much more focused in on what you're doing, go for it. If you want to feel energized, okay, well, what would make you feel energized? Well, nope, an hour-long exercise program would make me feel like crap, but like a 5-minute walk, or maybe like a makeout session with my partner, or petting my dog, or going in the sunshine. Like, what is going to bring you the feeling you want to have in your business right now? Find that feeling, do something that helps you feel that way right now, and then go in your business. So many of us end up self-sabotaging because the now doesn't feel good. And we punt off the now to the later. And we're like, okay, when I get this, I'll feel this. When I achieve this, I'll feel this. When I do this, I'll feel this. It's backwards. Instead, I want you all to think, how can I feel the way I want to feel in my business and in my life right now? How can I give myself those feelings right now? And if I felt that way, what would I do? That's how you leverage pleasure. And then the last piece is we get to do work around as things start working, as we start making movements, right? You just stopping shaming yourself around how you feel about all these things is movement. You just looking at the places that your brain has decided the way you want to run your business is painful, that's movement. You just being like, oh, I'm noticing that I'm self-protecting. Oh, that's like such a good thing. Good for me. You giving yourself that self-compassion and not doing anything else, that's movement. So a lot of people are like, oh, these people are still staying stuck. They're not making moves. These are moves. All of this counts as moves. Giving yourself compassion, giving yourself grace, figuring out how you want to feel, giving yourself more certain pleasure, looking at the pain that you're feeling and giving yourself acceptance around that, releasing all of that, that is all movement in your business. So you get to start protecting yourself by actively making moves that serve and support you. That's protective. It's actually protective for me to make mistakes because it means I'm growing and changing. It's protective for me to have people not like what I'm saying because it means I'm starting to reach a bigger audience. It's protective of me to put new offers out and not know if anyone's going to buy them because who knows, it might be really successful. So that shift of, okay, now I'm actually making movement. You might start to notice new fears come up. You might start to notice new pain come up. And so inviting you to just keep repeating this cycle, keep looking at where the pain's coming from and keep refocusing back to pleasure. For those of you who are listening to this and you're like, yeah, okay, Lee, whatever. Yeah, but, because I get that. My brain does it all the time. Yeah, but my brain's very rebellious. It listens to people tell me to do things. And it's like, okay, but like, here's how we're special. And here's how that's not going to work for us. And here, all of those things, right? This isn't just a me thing. First of all, if this works for me, this can work for a lot of people. And I'm not one of those coaches that's going to be like, this works for me, so it's going to work for everybody. This is not just a me thing. Okay. This is neuroscience. This is something that gets to work for everyone because it's customizable. I'm not saying this is exactly how you do it. I'm saying this is the question you ask yourself, and then let's see what your individual results are. Or maybe you're not a journal person. Maybe you're like, Lee, the thought of writing those down feels so awful. I can't even do it. Okay, then say them out loud to somebody. Voice record yourself. Get a coach and do this exercise with them, or get an accountability partner and do this exercise with them. One of the biggest things I do for my clients is I say, if you feel a lot of resistance to doing an exercise, let's figure out why. Again, are you afraid this exercise is going to cause you pain? Or could this actually lead to pleasure for you, right? So I am telling you this. My husband and I literally sat on the couch, and we had two separate moments last night. We sat on the couch last night, and then we were laying in bed as we were putting our kids to sleep last night. And we had two distinct moments. Last night, I said to him, did you ever think that we would make $300,000 in a year? And he was like, no, maybe combined. Maybe when we were both like at the top of our career 20 years from now combined. I said, we just made $300,000 this year and it's October. I was like, can you imagine what we're going to do next year? And then we were laying in bed and I was like, can you believe that our life is this good? Can you believe that our life is this good right now? And it's so funny because I had forgotten that I had written number 10 that I shared with y'all about like, my life doesn't get to be this good. Because what happens? What am I going to lose? Here's the thing, y'all. I'm going to lose things. I'm going to lose people. I'm going to lose opportunities. I'm going to lose experiences. I'm going to lose money. That's part of the human experience. There's going to be pain. There is going to be pain in my life. And I get to choose two things. One, I get to choose how I reorient back to pleasure. And two, I get to choose what that pain means. I get to choose what that pain means. And one of the things that I have chosen that pain means is pain is an indicator that I need to look at what's going on. It's not something I need to escape from, and it's not something that I need to sit in. It's something that it's an indicator. It's a check engine light to be like, hey, what are you not seeing? What are you missing? And how can I reorient back to pleasure? So my invitation to y'all is to come on this journey with me, because I don't want to do this alone. I don't want to do this alone. I want to do this with as many people as possible. I want as many people as possible coming on this journey with me of recognizing how to leverage their pain, recognizing how to leverage their pleasure to make moves in a way that feels really good for them, to stop shaming themselves, to stop letting their past painful experiences affect how they're showing up in their current reality. So for my coaches who are listening or watching, if you're like, wow, I would really love to help my clients shift out of resistance. I would really like to help my clients who feel like they're self-sabotaging. I would really like to teach my clients how self-protection works. I would really like to stop self-protecting in my own coaching business. We have the Trauma-Informed Coach. It's a 5-week course that I'm teaching along with a few of our core instructors. We are going to show you how to create more safe, supportive spaces for both you and your clients, help you stop shaming, stop self-sabotaging, help your clients stop self-sabotaging, self-protecting, and really build a business that feels really good for you, that aligns with those feelings we just talked about. Now, not punting them off to the future. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a DM. I'm going to drop the link below in our Facebook Live. It's going to be in the show notes for those of you who are watching the podcast. My TikTokers, it is in the link in our bio. And for those of you who aren't coaches and you're like, wow, I would really love to do this work deeper, don't worry. Our TRIPS certificate program, our flagship program, is opening up in just a few weeks. You want to go deep with this? We got you. We got you if you want to go deep with this. So I love you all. Invitation to really look at the certain pain that you're choosing right now and compare it to the potential pain that you might have doing the thing that you really want to go do, and figure out how to shift that into pleasure. And I'm here if you need help. So I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Invitation to head to our show notes to check out the offers and connections we mentioned, or you can just head straight over to institutefortrauma.com and hop in our email list so that you never miss any of the cool things that we're doing over at the Institute. Invitation to be well and to take care of yourself this week, and we'll see you next time.